over here excited because I was like doing stuff behind the scenes and like getting the party popping. What up, people? It's Monday.
Hey,
Time for
yeah,
another
happy
show.
Monday. How you doing? How's everybody doing? How you doing, Kimberlyn?
Ciao. I'm gonna tell y'all how I'm doing for real. Y'all gonna have to stay tuned for the for the story. But this is the highlight of
Well,
my
how's the
week. I
community
can
doing?
absolutely say I am
What's up?
happy to be here. So, how are you?
Good, good. I'm good. I'm good. I let me tell you, I'm in my new place. I know last episode I was in my new place, but it was a lot of technical stuff. But like, yeah, I'm excited. I want to play that new apartment song by Ari. Is it Ari Lennox?
Oh, I
I think that's
love
the
that
song.
song. I just got a new apartment. I'm gonna leave the floor where I love that song. You
Yes, I love
should.
that song.
You
Yeah,
should
yeah.
blast that. Jennifer said, congratulations. Hey, Jennifer. Hey,
Thank
Suzette.
you.
As y'all are coming in, we see y'all getting up in here. Go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from.
Sorry.
Tag your friends in the comments so that they can come in and hang out with us for our episode of Brown Conversations, and share the broadcast on your page
Yes.
so that everybody knows what you are doing. I actually just took a moment to share. I heard
Yeah.
Sab sharing. So
Yes.
we
Tell
want to
tell us
make
about your
sure.
weekend. Or was it
Hi,
last week? Was it last weekend or was it this
my
weekend?
weekend, child, it was
Well,
last
okay.
weekend, but it's been an ordeal like the whole time. But I'm gonna tell y'all when, because you see, I got like a new background and stuff.
Yes.
You know who I feel like right now? Do you
So
follow Chloe and Halle on Insta by any chance?
I do not.
Oh my God, they
But
are
share.
like. So I feel like I'm Chloe right now. So if you follow her on Instagram, she like sits in
Which
her
one is
recording
Chloe?
booth. The older
The
one,
little one or the tall one?
the tall one.
Wait, it's the
the
tall. Okay.
the
Okay.
thicker one, let's say that.
Okay. Mhm.
But at any rate, so she does like her little she does covers in her little sound booth or whatever, and I feel like my
Mhm.
background is giving like Chloe vibes. You'll get it when you go and watch it. I don't know if
Okay.
any of y'all in the community follow Chloe and Halle on Insta, but they're super dope. But that's what I feel like. So I'm gonna tell y'all all about that in just a second. Want to make sure that we do our official introduction and all of that good stuff. So we see y'all coming in. I forgot to say, if this is your first time hanging out with us, tell us that in the comments as well. So if this is your first time, type first time in the comments so that we know you're here with us for the first time. If you are always hanging out with us, you are a part of the BBG family. You kick it with us on Brown Conversations every other Monday. Type "Hey Beautiful" in the comments so that we can acknowledge you as well. Make sure you are introducing yourself to the people that are in the comments because it be litty up in there. So make sure you know where people are coming from and all of that good stuff because it's a good time. So let me give a
Yeah,
few
it
shout
is.
outs. Look, they be coming to me. I'm so excited. Okay. Let me calm down. So hey Atria girl. So this is her first time hanging out with us. Branyelia done got hip, honey. She
I
done
love
she
how she
spells her
always
name out
phonetically spelled it.
phonetically, girl, because I was chopping that thing up, but I got it now, girl, because I've been practicing. Who else we have up in here? First
Oh,
timers. We have a
oh, I love it.
Maria. This is her first time here with us. Let me see. Jilly Jill is here. Hey love. This is her first time here. So spirit fingers to all of y'all. We love our first timers. Y'all go ahead on and keep it
Welcome, guys.
popping in the comments. Okay. I can already feel tonight is gonna be filled with shenanigans because my
It
energy
is.
is on like 17 right now, but it's all good. So
That's great.
let's do our official welcome. I have to get into character. Welcome. I started early before the show. Okay, all right. Let me focus. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome to Brown Conversations. This is our virtual platform where we talk about all things brown girl related. We are here to
Mhm.
connect you to other like-minded women and give you a platform to share your voice in the brown conversations that matter to us and those we care about. We invite you to follow beautiful brown girls and follow us individually as we take this journey through life. My name is Kimberland, and usually I'm in Central PA. tonight I'm coming to you on location from DC. Okay. And like I said, I'm gonna tell that whole story in a y'all got to stick to the end because child has been an ordeal. But at any rate, I am an educator, I'm an author, I'm a life coach. And tonight I am one of your co-hosts for Brownversations.
Hi, I'm Sab, and I come to you out of Dallas. I am a B2B marketing professional, podcast host, and daughter to Barbara, sister to Maria, sister to Tawana. May she rest in heaven. So welcome to all of you guys that are joining us for the first time. And I'm excited to get started. There's just so much to talk about, so much substance and fun stuff to talk about. So let's go.
So much.
Let's get
it. Is going to be
we got to
litty.
start with Kimberlyn's, not this weekend, Kimberlyn.
Yes.
But last weekend, Kimberlyn. You had an eventful last weekend.
I did, and I have a couple shout outs that I want to do. Gabrielle said, "You still in DC?" Girl, I am still here in DC, child. So, okay, so let me do hold on, let me get my lights together, y'all. Hold on, let me get these pictures together. Okay, so want to do a couple shout outs because we have a big announcement and letting you all know that in-person brunches are back. So special shout out to our new Chicago organizer. Her name is Shatima. And these are the ladies that were at the Chicago brunch this past weekend. So I think that was on Saturday or Sunday, one of the days. But that was their first in-person brunch. So ran across their picture. Nice. And then I also got a chance to hang out with the DC ladies. So they were like, "You drove from Pennsylvania to hang out with us?" I was like, "Hey, y'all, what up?" So we want y'all to know that in-person brunches are back. So you all can check. Irma wanted to know if they're back in New York. So they're coming back slowly but surely. So what you need to do is make sure that you have joined our members network. So if you go to members.beautifulbrowngirls.com, you can see all of the events, and then you'll be able to see when the in-person brunches are back in your particular area. So that's the place that you want to check. And also, y'all know we are so much more than brunch, right? So we do all other types of things, and that's the place where you can find those things as well. So definitely want to make sure that you go to members.beautifulbrowngirls.com and that you get connected because there are so many awesome things going on. So Sab, to my time, girl, we had the best time, okay? Because y'all know with brunch comes mimosas.
Don't I know? But yes.
It was a blast. So Candace is the organizer. She's there in the yellow pants and got to hang out with my new friends. Child, we all exchanged information. So shout out to Ava and Jasmine and Zuri. Like we were kicking it so hard. Like it was, and that's what I love about Beautiful Brown Girls. It's like you meet like-minded people. That's not just a tagline. Like in real life, you be like, "Sis, let's do this. Sis, you need somebody." Like it was so dope. So I know anytime that I come to DC, I got people that I could go ahead on and tap into because those ladies were absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to them.
Shout out to them and welcome Chi-Town, Beautiful Brown Girl Chi-Town. That was beautiful. Shout out to all the ladies in DC. I'm glad that they received you well. The reception sounds really well and really wonderful and beautiful. And it sounds really amazing. And that's what this Beautiful Brown Girl Network is all about. So I'm excited for the brunches to get started again. I'm ready for Dallas to have its brunch because I'm virtualed out. I'm zoomed out, but still I'm excited.
Yes. So definitely, again, make sure you all go to members.beautifulbrowngirls.com so that you can get connected and hear about all of the activities that we have. And then you'll know when your brunch chapter is going to be hosting their next event. All right. So I think that is our main announcement. So let's go ahead on and get this party popping, girl.
All right. So upcoming movies and documentaries and streaming services. I'll also just mention like movie theaters are open now. So, but I say that because we want to start with the top of the show with Netflix. So Netflix, there's this movie called In Our Mother's Garden, and it's a beautiful tribute to the complex relationships between Black women connected by lineage and love. And this was released on Netflix during Mother's Day, and you can stream this currently right now on Netflix. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm certainly, when I was doing research for the show, I saw this and I was just like, this is something that I definitely want to check out.
So can I tell you, I watched it last night. And oh my God. So a few things. First of all, it is phenomenally made. It is just so inspirational and really, I thought you had watched it because when you were like Sab, daughter of whatever, like it was a lot of that. But listen, this was the fun fact. So this lady that is pictured here, her name is Chantrell P. Lewis, and she is the director, executive producer of In Our Mother's Garden, and she's also in the documentary.
Okay.
How about the whole time I'm sitting there looking at it, I'm like, I know this lady. Girl, why we went to high school together? I knew her. Yes. We went to the same high school. Like, I'm sitting there because she said she was from New Orleans. So, you know, New Orleans not that big, you know, and around the same age. Like, we had to have run across each other at some point. But I was like, no, like, I know her. I'm like, Chantrell Lewis. God, that name sounds so familiar. Child, we went to the same Black all-girls Catholic high school. She showed a picture of her and one of the girls I used to hang with in high school, this girl, Kelly. I was like, that is so crazy. So that just made me be even that much more invested. I was like, sis, it was so awesome. So if y'all haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It is just a real like celebration of where we come from, our lineage, you know, what we bring to resilience. We're going to talk about that today too. Trauma, like it was just so awesome. So Chantrell did an amazing job. Shout out to her and all the people that put it together. Tarana Burke is in there with some other amazing women. Like it was just, and this is like not about it, but when I tell you Chantrell also did the wardrobe, child, y'all pay attention to how these ladies are accessorized when you watch it. Because, girl, I was like, they better be out here glowing. Girl,
I want to watch now just because the 3 degrees of separation of the fact that you know someone in it makes me want to watch it even more. So I definitely want to check this out.
Yes, Jill says she saw it and she said she agrees. So y'all check that out. I just had to do a special moment because I'm like, Chantrell, girl, you.
All right. We gotta move on.
Sorry, I get carried away. I told you I was
joking. All right, so the next movie is The House Next Door, Meet the Blacks. This is a show that's actually in theaters right now, and it stars Mike Epps playing a gentleman by the name of Carl Black, and he moves his family to his childhood home where he finds himself facing off against a new neighbor from hell, Cat Williams, who may or may not be a vampire. So it's like Meet the Blacks 2, and it's in theaters now. And when I saw this trailer, it reminded me of the Black iteration of The Burbs. You guys remember The Burbs with Tom Hanks? That's what this reminded me of. So yeah, if you are brave enough, I shouldn't have said that, to go to the theaters, because I'm not.
If your heart takes you there.
Okay. You can go check it out in theaters right now. All right. So next we have, ABC drops the first look at a show called Queens, starring Eve, Brandy Naturi Naughton, and Nadine Velasquez. And the drama follows 4 women looking to recapture the fame they achieved in the 90s hip hop group called Nasty Itches, with a B at the top of it. I have not seen the trailer, but I like all of these ladies and I like Naturi. I don't know Nadine Velasquez, but I do know like Naturi, Eve, and Brandy. So
yeah, they look cute, honey. They glowing. So come through. Orange looks amazing on the skin tone. So I was here for this picture. So if the show lives up to this imagery right here, I'm here for it.
I agree. I agree. All right. So next, so are any of you fans of the game? Like, ladies and or gentlemen, are you fans of the game? And the reason why I mention this is because the game is officially restarting again.
For the third time.
For the third time. Okay, so Paramount Plus, I believe that is a streaming service. So Paramount Plus has handed down a 10-episode series order for the reboot of the CW and BET dramedy. I learned a new word when I saw this. I did not know dramedy. With the original cast members. And they're all reprising their roles. Community, are you here? Are you here for it? Kimberlyn, are you here for it? Where are we here for
I
it?
ain't gonna lie, I'm nervous because I loved the game when it was on, what was it on, like UPN or CW, whatever,
yeah,
when it first came out. Loved it. Like literally would like program my life to make sure I was sitting there.
Really?
And then BET got a hold of it.
Okay.
And it went through some struggles, right? So I just struggles with a C. Like that's how much they were struggling, that it was with a C. Okay. I don't know. And I guess I'm wondering, like a reboot, are they trying to continue it from where it left off? Is Mara Brock-Akil gonna be involved in it? Was she not involved when it was on BET? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of things at play here. So I don't know about this one.
What about community say? I'm looking for it.
It's mixed reviews. Some folks are passing and others are okay. Yeah, so I think we'll see. Somebody got to take one for the team. So we need somebody to check it out and come back and report. That might have to be us. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know.
I'm a fan of Wendy Raquel. Is it Wendy Raquel? I'm always a fan of her. She is just so funny in everything. In my opinion, she's funny in everything that she is. I don't know Hosea Sanchez as much, but I know Wendy has been funny in everything that I've seen her in. So so report back to us. Let us know what you guys think, ladies. Excuse me, think. We'll see. I'll watch it.
Who's gonna volunteer as tribute? Y'all go ahead on and unbox that out in the comments and let us know.
That's funny. All right. So we've all heard this saying, and put it in the comments when you know who this came from. Like, everybody want to be a, but don't nobody want to be a. That was quoted from the legendary Paul Mooney. And we just need to say rest in power to the legendary comedian Paul Mooney. He was known for writing for fellow comic Richard Pryor and the host of other shows. He was on the Chappelle Show, I believe, as well. And he died recently at the age of 79. He suffered a heart attack at his home in Oakland. I love his comedy. I love how he is able to, I've seen clips of him with jokes, and white people mainly, are in the audience and they immediately walk out because they don't like his level of comedy. And that's what makes it so funny, because he just doesn't care. And when we see these, Kimberlyn, we often, get sad and get down. But for me, I'm like, I'm not pretty sure, but I'm feeling like he lived a full life. I mean, 79, 80, 81, like when people pass, obviously it's sad, but it's just, I feel like he lived a full life. He lived a full life. So, Kimberlyn, thoughts?
I appreciated his realness. As Karen said, he was good for stepping on toes, and telling it like it TIS is. So definitely appreciated that. And I know the comedy community is definitely honoring him and missing his contribution. But there was something I read somewhere that Dave Chappelle made sure that he was involved, in the Chappelle Show and in other things. So he has a lot of respect in the industry. And Elise said, he said all he had to say. She said she saw him live and it was another level, girl. I can't imagine. Like, cannot. The folks was probably sitting there tight, like, oh. But definitely a celebration of life. You know, it doesn't sting as bad when someone has, you know, lived most of their years. It doesn't hurt as bad, right? But definitely wanted to make sure that we pause for a moment to honor him, because he definitely is a legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Dang, it's like when they pass away, I'm just like, I wish I would have just saw them live.
I know. I know. I cannot imagine what that was like. And Irma mentioned again that he wrote for Richard Pryor. So, you know, that says enough in itself there, right? Because we know that that was some legendary writing right there. So rest in peace to Paul Mooney, and you know, blessings to his family as they celebrate the impact that he has left on all of us in this world.
Absolutely. All right. So next we have the United States Mint recently announced one of the first of 2 women to be honored on coins issued under the American Women's Quarters program. And those women include Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority member and acclaimed writer and poet, the late Dr. Maya Angelou. And she will join astronaut Dr. Sally Ride and more on a series of quarters issued over the next 4 years. So you guys remember the last couple of years where they started putting different people on these quarters? They haven't been circulating because people like me probably keep them and it contributes to them not being circulated.
I got a bunch of them too.
So should I get a Dr. Maya Angelou quarter? I will not spend it.
I have a whole roll. I love me some Maya Angelou.
Yeah. All right.
But that's awesome, especially when you think about the controversy that surrounded Harriet Tubman being on the 20, right, and how that was recanted. $10, whatever dollar it was, but they took it away. So I hope we go ahead on and go through with that. And if we could go ahead on and run her on, it's now that we have a new administration, go on and put my girl Harriet on there, then I think that would be pretty dope. So the community is like saying they're keeping them for souvenirs. So it's pretty awesome. Aisha said both of these ladies were teachers as well. Shout out to the educators and the ones who are shaping the future. But yeah, this is pretty dope. So I hope this, you know, definitely goes through, and we definitely want to collect them all. I'm trying to have me a whole roll. Just saying.
Yeah. All right. So next, Ellen DeGeneres is ending her long-time daytime running show. So we mentioned this because there will be a lot of women, I was going to say people, that will be vying for that time slot. Now, we know, a lot of people know that she is ending her talk show, and it was just because she has been embroiled in a lot of controversy over the past year or two, because of the toxicity on set. And we wanted to talk about 5 Black celebrities who should have their own talk show, who could potentially fill that slot. And we wanted to get your community's thoughts on who could potentially fill that slot. And I saw these people on Essence, and then I added my own few as well. So Kimberland, community ladies. Okay, so 5 people who could potentially fill that time slot of Ellen. Keke Palmer.
So we want to like discuss them, or we vote in. So maybe we should like go through all 5 and then let the ladies say like who they think. Okay.
Okay. So we got Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer.
We got Michelle Butto. I apologize if I'm pronouncing her name incorrectly. And she's from The Circle on Netflix. We got Amanda Seales. She was on The Real before, and she has been advocating for herself for her own talk show. Then we got Rachel Lindsay, the first Black Bachelorette, and she currently has a podcast with Van Lathan, and then she's also on Extra right now. And then we also have Tiffany Haddish, which is on what what show is she on?
Kids Say the Darndest Things. Mm-hmm.
So those are like 5 women who 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women that we mentioned. And we just want to know your thoughts on, would you tune in for any of these women? Who are you advocating for? Who you be pushing for? Because best believe they are looking to trying to fill that time slot. They're trying to Kelly Ripa it and Kelly Clarkson it. And what is Tamron Hall it, and they're trying to get that spot. They're trying to get that Ellen DeGeneres spot, and I see it for any one of these women.
So Ellen is daytime TV,
okay,
right? Yeah. And so we see your comments coming in. So I'm gonna scroll through one more time, and then we gonna like, I don't know, tally up the votes or something. So Ellen is daytime TV. Kiki is already on.
She was. She's not on there anymore. She was on Good Morning America.
Is she on Good Morning America now?
She was, but they canceled that show.
Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Because she was with Michael Strahan and the other lady. I don't know the other lady. I don't really know this lady from The Circle. I've never watched it, so I can't really comment too much on her. Love Amanda Seales. I think she's a bit much though for daytime.
She has a podcast called Small Doses, meaning you got to take her in small doses.
Right. I don't think daytime is really ready for her. I also don't really know Rachel, the Bachelorette lady. I don't watch Extra, so I don't know. Can't really speak to that. Tiffany Haddish has been on Ellen. I feel like Tiffany is, though she's a lot, I feel like she is closest in position to take over because she has subbed for Ellen many times over this past year. So I feel like she might, be the closest one. I don't know. So let's see what the community says. Because there's quite a few.
I think Amanda would be too serious.
People we left out. Okay. Hold on.
Who do we leave out?
So where did it go? So Mahogany said, what about Taraji? Any thoughts there? No, you say no? No. And I've watched her Facebook show that she has right now. I don't know, Taraji, this is gonna sound so bad. Christina, don't kill me. Taraji reminds me of Beyonce in that Beyonce cannot show up as anybody but herself, right? So like every role that Beyonce has done, she sounds like Beyonce. Just like Beyonce in The Lion King, Beyonce in Cadillac Records, Beyonce in Dreamgirls, and like she's just Beyonce with a different outfit on. So me too. Taraji, I feel like shows up as what her name was in Hustle and Flow. Whatever her name. I feel like that's who she shows up. Whatever. So I don't know. I don't know about Taraji. Okay, but then
y'all got bees in.
Annalise. I was like, Christina, don't kill me, okay? Annalise said, what about Regina Hall? Now, I love me some Regina Hall. That chick is fun.
But I haven't seen her on a talk show, like hosting type. But she has hosted show. Well, has she hosted shows?
I don't know.
She's presented, but I have not seen her host actual shows.
I don't know.
I have to see her in action, but
Kiki has a lot of votes here in the. Ooh, Linda said Tabitha Brown. Now Tabitha is also working with Ellen right now. She has her own little segment, and she's been on there a few times. So I love Tab. I love Tab. That would be a good one too. How did I even forget about Tab? I don't know, Sam. I think they should just hire us. I'm just saying, put it out there,
Yes.
I'm saying we got a talk show every other week. Girl, I'm about to sit in my reel, Sam. Be ready.
Why do people cover their mouths when they laugh? Why am I covering my mouth? It's just happening. Anyway. I agree, Kimberlyn.
I'm just putting it out there, honey.
We
Look,
can't
Karen
drink no
said,
oil.
okay, conversations every girl. You hear me? We could drink though, because on the Today Show, when they used to have the third hour and Jenna Bush Hager was on there, they used to be drinking wine all the time. And Kathy Lee and them, child, at 10 o'clock in the morning, honey. Y'all go ahead on and write whoever Carrie Ellen. Write the people, okay? Because we try to have conversations every day. Start a campaign. Okay. All right.
All right. So Issa Rae, she's always on her hustle. I love Issa Rae is building her empire, right? So it will lead the Project Greenlight revival for HBO Max, which is another streaming service this fall. And HBO Max and Miramax are reviving the critically acclaimed docuseries Project Greenlight. And what that is, it will focus on talented female filmmakers who are given the chance to direct and a feature film. So Rae will appear in every episode as an executive producer, providing guidance and mentorship to aspiring filmmakers, aka making the bands via kind of like film. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. But I'm here for it. I'm
here for everything that Issa does. Sis is lit. Like sis be out here rooting for everybody Black, creating ways and pathways. Honey, Issa, be great. Honey, be great.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. So this next one, and we just need to get everybody's thoughts on this one. Obviously, we'll get everybody's thoughts. So millions of families will start getting cash payments in July, And this is according to the research that I did on this. So starting July 15th, parents in the U.S. can expect to see a bump in their bank account balances courtesy of the expanded child tax credit under the American Rescue Plan. The Biden administration announced the provision is expected to affect a reported 39 million households, and it's hailed for its potential to drastically reduce poverty in the U.S. AKA, so they're aiming to give families up to $3,600 annually for kids ages 5 and younger, and $3,000 annually for children ages 6 to 17. The Internal Revenue Service confirmed it will send payments monthly, and about 80% of those qualifying families will receive the money via direct deposit. How are we feeling about this? Can I tell you my thoughts, my notes? I mean, yeah. I think this is great. I obviously think this is great. I'm not a mother. I am not in that low income bracket. However, this does not preclude me from my people, and I am a civic servant. And I'm someone who loves my community and love my people. And in every city that I've lived in, 3 cities that I've lived in, I always make an effort to make an impact in the communities in which I live, work, and serve. So while I am not going to benefit from this, I do love how my people, my community may potentially benefit from this. This legislation is something that can stimulate our economy and our
I think it is amazing, especially because the intention behind it is to help with poverty. I don't have any children either, but I know them jokers expensive. Okay, so I was trying to let you drink first before I let that slip out, but I'm glad you didn't choke. But listen, this is the word on the street that they cost a lot of money. So I feel like parents need the assistance, especially when we think about our lower income families that have children. They need, right, all the help that they can get. So thinking about having a boost sounds amazing. What I also wonder though is about those who are in poverty that don't have children. So are they going to do something to help? Right? So if we're helping with poverty, let's help everybody with poverty. So I would hope that something is in the works for those who don't yet have children, but may still be in a situation where they need a boost.
Yeah.
I remember when I first like graduated from college, and I had like 3 jobs, and was just really trying to make, I was trying to make ends meet. And I made too much money, even though I couldn't pay my bills, you know? So it was like my lights were about to get cut off. But because I didn't have any kids, they were like, oh, you make too much money. But I don't, because I'm out here broke. Like, I'm gonna need some food stamps. Like, no. So I didn't even know how to take it, because I'm like, should I like be happy that I'm not like living in a box, or like, but I still can't pay my bills. So like, I need some help. So I really think we really need to start thinking about other other people that may be in these situations. Something I can say when I went to Colombia is that they take care of their poor, and they create opportunities for accessibility for the people who aren't as fortunate. I wish as Americans that we weren't so capitalistic, and that we would think about how to help other people. So even like being here in DC, literally at the nation's capital, why am I walking and looking at the White House and walking past homeless people? Like, we right here in the nation's capital, ain't nobody feeling like they want to help these people. Are we serious? So I wish that we would just do something to help those who need help, both those who have children and those who don't. But I can't hate on it, you know, just because I don't have children. I think that it's a step in the right direction, and I'm always like, and then.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting Biden and his administration to do everything within his first 120, 130 days, however long he's been in the office. But I do appreciate, I can't say that he's making good on all of his promises during the campaign, but he's definitely making strides and making efforts and checking boxes with the things that he has committed to doing. But I am here for it. I appreciate it. But to your point, and what else? Yeah. And what else?
Yeah.
All right. So, Kimberlyn, have you got your Fauci?
My Fauci?
I call it my Dr. Fauci. I call it my Fauci.
No, ma'am. I have not.
You have not. Well, since you have not, you may not be able to participate or benefit from this, because on Thursday, May 13th, the CDC announced new COVID guidelines. They always change an ish, but that essentially they're getting rid of masks and social distancing for fully vaccinated people. What this means for the fully Fauci people means that people, you no longer need to wear a mask or physically distance in any settings except where required by federal, state, local, tribal, et cetera, and workplace guidelines. If you are fully vaccinated, you can resume activities that you did prior to the pandemic. Fully vaccinated people can resume activities without wearing a mask or physically distancing, as I just mentioned. So when I seen this, my initial reaction, Kimberland community ladies, was just like, didn't y'all just say like 2 seconds ago that we had to wear 2 masks? And didn't y'all just say before that we only had to do this and wear, like, CDC, get your ish together. Get your ish together. Because I don't trust them. So with that, are you still wearing a mask considering, and they're going on the honor system. This is based on the honor system. So if you are fully vaccinated, they don't have a way of checking you. Or verifying whether or not you've gotten fully vaccinated. And this picture that you're showing, there are a lot of companies. Walmart is one of those companies. One of the largest private employers will no longer require vaccinated workers and shoppers to wear masks. All of these companies that Kimberland has, that we have listed here, all these Costco, CVS, all of these companies will no longer mandate that their employees and that their patrons wear masks. I just want to know how the community feels about that, and how do you plan to move in this post-pandemic? It's not really post-pandemic, because I think it's here to stay. That's just my thoughts on it.
It is a pandemic outside. Okay. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So
Ladies.
there were a couple questions in the comments. When do I plan on getting a shot? Yeah, as I promised, I was gonna let y'all go ahead on and do that, and I'ma just wait for a minute. I just don't feel led right now. I am very intentional about how I interact with people. So I am waiting. I'll see when I feel comfortable with that. This is what I wanted to this is how I kind of feel about it. So the nurses union is basically saying that revoking the mask guidelines is dangerous. And I feel that way because I feel like regardless of whether people are vaccinated or not, like there are so many things that, and that's your choice. Like I don't judge you either way. Like I really don't. But there are so many people that weren't wearing their mask right in the first doggone place. Right. And then now you're telling people they ain't got to wear no mask. Right. And just because you are vaccinated, it is not 100% that you can't be a carrier. It is not one like they're talking about people needing booster shots. 8 months down the line, so nobody knows like at what point you did get your shot. If you was in the first batch, it's about time for you to get another shot. Like it's a lot. So I am team put your mask on and back up. Okay. Give me 50 feet. I'm good. Yeah, and even like thinking about, I told y'all I'm here in DC. I had gone to get some crab legs the other day, and I was walking to the restaurant, and there people are out and eating and all that kind of stuff. I might have saw 4 masks. With all of these people.
And inside the restaurant?
No, like everywhere, just like inside, outside. Like I could count on one hand the number of people that I saw with a mask on.
And wear mask outside. I don't wear mask outside.
Let me tell you something. If I'm not putting food in my mouth or drinking, my mask is on. Okay. It's just a lot. And still when I think about it, I have a friend that just got COVID just recently, and he was like, I don't know where I got it from. Like I've been careful. Like I just feel like I am team wear your mask. Okay. Somebody else in here said the mask protect us from allergies and people with bad breath. I just who is that? Lakia. She said, I mean, keep it real, right? And it just keeps it all locked in. So yeah, it's to put your mask on for me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's to put your mask on and keep your mask on for me.
I just do what you have to do to remain safe. Not you, but you and just anyone else who either doesn't want to get the vaccine or just refuses to wear a mask. Just do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. I'm going to do what I need to do to keep myself safe and my mind safe, meaning I'm going to disseminate all the pertinent information that my family and peep circle need to do so that they can make the best sound decisions. So yeah. I'm still wearing my mask. Kimberlyn, you're still wearing your mask, and we just want you ladies or
it looks like the community out there is wearing their mask as well. And there are lots of comments here about the honor system and how we know that there are so many dishonorable people. So I don't trust anybody with the honor system. Okay. So it's a no-go. It's a no-go for your girl. Put your mask on.
All right. So Biden, he grants temporary protected status to Haitian immigrants. And what this means is what's currently happening in Haiti. And I just learned about this recently is Haiti is currently experiencing some serious concerns of social unrest and increase of human rights abuses, crippling poverty, and lack of basic resources, which are exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. So the Biden administration just announced that they are redesignating temporary protected status, TPS, for Haiti, and this will protect so many Haitian New York Haitians in New York and across the country. So from being deported if they come and seek asylum here in the U.S. So, yeah,
I think this is awesome. When we think about immigration rights, we often think about brown people. So we think about our Latin American countries and Mexico and the immigrants with DACA and the Dreamers. Like the faces of that movement are brown, and we don't think about the Black faces that are also immigrants that are in danger of being deported and things of that nature. So I appreciate this. I have historically not known a lot about Haitians, but I have been studying and just really understanding their pride. Haitians are the first country that overthrew colonizers. They were like, we ain't doing this. Like, y'all could get from out of here. So that level of fight and pride is just something to be honored. And it upsets me when Haitians are treated as second-class citizens and looked at so poorly and left out of these important conversations, because they too, immigrated to this country. So I think this was a good move. And I think there's a lot of education that we as African Americans can receive about the Haitian culture and the pride that they carry, because we were all dropped off in different places, but we come from that same level of resilience and that same level of pride. And I think that we as African Americans just don't know unless we grew up in communities that were Haitian adjacent. So I think that's pretty dope that they're being included in this conversation. And I hope we collective Black people continue to push to honor the Black faces of immigration, because they are there and they are being affected.
Thank you for that. I'm always learning something new every day. I pride myself on being a forever student. So things that you just mentioned are things that I just didn't know about. When we were researching this story for the show, I just didn't know. And it's not that I don't watch the news. I watch the news every day, but I just didn't know this. So that's why you have wonderful shows like this that'll teach you and tell you about these things. So thank you, Kimberlyn, I just learned something new in just what you just said. And then I just learned.
Yeah, and I'm by no means an expert, but that was like, dang, why don't we know that? Why didn't we learn that, right? Which kind of leads us right into the next thing that we wanted to talk about, which is the 1619 Project, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. So you want to kind of give a synopsis, and then we can kind of...
Yeah, so this came out, I just heard about it recently. However, this came out in 2019, and this was from the New York Times, and this came out on the 400th anniversary of enslaved Africans to Virginia. And this project accurately depicts the first arrival of the slaves and the consequences of slavery and the contributions of Black people from that time till now. And keyword accurately, let's focus on that word accurately. And this was from Nicole Hannah-Jones. And this project made its way into American classrooms. Keep in mind the word accurately, and it made its way into American classrooms. So there are 4 GOP lawmakers, in addition to 40 others, that are pushing back against the 1619 Project. Senator Mitch McConnell. Do I even need to say their names? Just know 4 old white men that are pushing back.
No, say their names though, because if they behind stuff for re-election, people need to know not.
Okay.
Vote for them.
Okay. So Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, McConnell, and Representative Ray Garofalo of Louisiana, Tennessee State Representative Justin Lafferty, and Colorado State Republican Ron Hanks, old white men who are pushing back against this. And what they're trying to do, you guys, with the 1619 Project is they all wrote a letter to the federal education officials to drop a proposed effort to prioritize history education programs that address systemic racism. And they call it a politicized and divisive agenda. Even here in Texas, Kimberlyn, our Republican governor Abbott passed a bill to effectively ban public schools from talking about racism, white supremacy, or current events. And they are banning this all, and they are shutting down conversations that they find uncomfortable. All of this makes me say, white men are just scared. Why are white men scared, guys? Because by the year 2040, white Americans are projected to be less than 50% of the population. White men are losing their minds at the thought of the black and brown planet. And they want to revise his story of America. Again, the word accurately. And because white men are trying to stop the accuracy of history. And we mentioned that because what recently came up.
But wait, hold on one sec before you go there, Sab, because I want to make sure. So there are a few buzzwords, if you will, that you might hear dog whistles, right? So the 1619 Project is one, critical race theory is another. And when we're talking about the 1619 Project and critical race theory, it's really about white privilege and white inferiority complex, also known as white supremacy, but white supremacy is rooted in white inferiority. So that's what I call it now. But it's really rooted in helping people to understand systemic racism and how racism, and we've talked about this before, but how racism is the water that we live in, right? So when you look at, for instance, like the educational system, education was created to colonize people. So indigenous people, Native Americans were stripped of their culture through the educational system. They were taught to read the Bible so that they were able to be controlled. The same thing we already know with Black people, like we were denied the opportunity to read, that the Bible was given to us as a way to control, right? So school was literally to program people to tap into this system of systemic racism. But it's not just education. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about environment. We're talking about every single aspect of life. So what we like to say in the DEI world is like racism, imagine trying to go somewhere without money.
What is DEI?
Like without DEI, I'm sorry, thank you. DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So basically educating white people about their whiteness. But in that world, like if you try to go somewhere to purchase something without money, people are going to look at you crazy. Racism is as ingrained into our society as money is. And when white people hear racism, or they hear critical race theory, or they are confronted with the truth of African excellence, confronted with the truth that we didn't grow from seeds in 1619, like we actually were somewhere, like all humanity started in Africa, that in Africa we were the builders of the pyramids and mathematicians and kings and queens and geniuses and all of this stuff. They want to eliminate that and focus on the Black trauma, but not call it trauma. So in schools, you'll hear things, and I think those of you that have children, I think it would be very interesting to look at the type of education that your kids are getting when it comes to talking about the triangular trade, because they'll say things like the unpaid servants came, or they'll mention there's a clip that we show where people are like, oh, George Washington freed his slaves. George Washington did not free his slaves. George Washington actually used his slaves' teeth as his own, right? So it's like that kind of stuff is so horrific, but it is whitewashed and toned down so that it's palatable for white people, so they don't have to feel responsible for what they have done. So the 1619 Project,
like White Fragility. As you're talking, I'm thinking of that freaking book.
Yeah. So the 1619 Project and critical race theory kind of works together, and it's really about empowering people to understand the truth, right? But if the truth comes out, then that means that now people want to do something about it. So for instance, when I'm educating people on this, they'll say things like, I didn't know that slaves were raped. And I'm like, what did you think was happening? Well, I thought that, they were, having sex with their masters because, they wanted to. Ma'am, sir, is that really what you thought? But yes, that's how it's presented to them, right? Yeah. So in the 1619 Project is really about holding America accountable for our history and the way that America has a history of genocide and rape and murder and erasure, right? So that is why there's such a huge uprising against it, and why it's used as a right-wing talking point, because they don't want people to understand the truth and really be confronted with it, because then something will have to be done about it.
You want to know why this is the truth, Kimberlyn and everyone? Because white men are trying to stop it. That's just what it is. So Google it, do yourself a favor, take it in however you can, read it, listen to the podcast. There is a podcast, 1619 podcast. There are 6 episodes of it. It is riveting. But we mentioned this because I learned about what the actual word tenure means researching this episode. And tenure grants a professor permanent employment at a university and protects them from being fired without cause. The concept is closely tied to academic freedom, as the security of tenure allows professors to research and teach any topic, even controversial ones. So Nikole Hannah-Jones has been denied tenure. She was offered.
She's the author of the 1619
I'm sorry. I apologize for that. UNC, where's my notes here? Pulitzer Prize winner, Pulitzer Prize, New York Times journalist, I think Yale graduate. I almost want to say Yale or Harvard, but one of the Ivy League school graduates. She was denied tenure. She's an award-winning journalist. She's the lead author of the 1619 Project, Nikole Hannah-Jones, after conservative groups complained about her hire at the school. And that's why tenure is so important, because she has been there for a while and she was up for tenure. They offered her tenure. She was going to get tenure, and then they rescinded it because of pressure from her work with the 1619 Project. So there has just been a lot of ire from us and people who, want the truth to come out about why they rescinded her tenure. So this is just a lot. You guys, and I titled this segment, I want to amplify this. I want us to go to the New York Times to read it. I want us to go to the podcast and listen to it. I want us to tweet it, retweet it, share it on Facebook, to get this woman, to get this professor her tenure. Like, she's freaking due. Like, and it's not just that, it's just, we want to get the truth out there. We want to, because kids are still going to learn. Are they, Kimberlyn? You're the teacher on this panel. Like, are kids still going to learn even if they don't learn in school? I mean, like, I feel like, I don't know.
It depends, right? So this is the thing, is that, and this is why it's important for us to educate ourselves on this type of stuff and to be really involved in what your children are learning. So for instance, in Florida, there was a law that was passed, I'm going to say 2007, 2009-ish or so, where pre-K through 12, students are supposed to receive African-American education in all content areas. Though that law has been passed, there were people just this past year where I was working in Hillsborough County, Florida, in the Tampa area, that didn't even know that the law existed. right? So a law was passed over 10 years ago,
I get
but
it.
people didn't even know that it existed. So it's like we have to know what our kids are being taught. And as Gabrielle said, it really starts at home and empowering your children with the truth and really understanding who we are, what we bring to the table, where we came from, like the greatness that we inhabit as Black people, because if we leave it up to the schools to teach it, heck no, no, not unless they're going to an
They won't.
Afrocentric school. Other than that, no, they're not going to learn it. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. All right. I listened to the whole podcast this weekend, and you guys, it's just I'm gonna listen to it again just because. Yeah. So
Yeah.
please share the 1619 project. And just know what's going on. And I'm glad that we were able to share this piece of news with you ladies today.
Yeah.
All right, next, there is this.
So this happened in
Black
Tampa. I
Dunkin'
was just
Donuts
mentioning.
manager
I'm laughing, but it's not funny. So this happened in Tampa.
We're not laughing at it, we're just laughing at the goodness of it.
Because sometimes that's all you can do to like keep from losing a gasket.
Well, Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club says well, he's not crazy. He's not crazy, but the person that accosted him is crazy. So there was a Black Dunkin' Donuts manager that was charged after fatally punching a man who called him a racial slur. So the victim suffered a racial skull fracture and brain contusions as a result of the blunt force trauma. Basically, the man called him the N-word, and this Dunkin' Donuts employee punched him in the noggin, and it killed him. The Dunkin' customer hurled racial slurs at the employee. He was met with a punch in the head, and that proved to be fatal. Now, this employee who issued the deadly blow is now facing manslaughter charges. So I have mixed feelings about this, and I'm wondering what our community feels about this. The question posed is what do you do when you are confronted with this situation? And we pose this question because we are expected to go high when they go low. I don't ascribe to Michelle Obama's comment. Like, when they go low, I am going to hell with them. I'm going to the ground with them. I am like taking it to the floor with them, and I'm giving expletives, and I know that's not the most mature way to go about it, and I hurl expletives.
I mean, sometimes you got to get people together, right? So I try my best to be the bigger person, but being the bigger person is exasperating. Like, it really is, especially when, you're Black in America and dealing with these types of things. One thing I can say that I try not to do is, if somebody is attacking me with words, that I match the level of force, if you will, right? So if you're talking words to me, then I'm talking words to you. Now, if you put your hands on me, well, then I'm gonna have to put my hands on you, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I try to function in these situations. But what we're wondering is, what we know is that there have been many people that have been emboldened and feel that they have every right and license, because of their freedom of speech and, their misinformed foolishness, to be able to hurl hate words and racial slurs. So we really wanted to solicit from you all, what do you do? Or what is your pre-planned response for if this ever happens, that, you're at work, or maybe not at work, maybe you're just out and about and somebody decides to berate you with their words. How do you handle that situation? And, what do you do?
We are always on high alert, and I may not have the right word for that. We are on high vigilant, hyper alert all the time. Every time we step out the house, every time we go to the mall and we're in a store, we're having to comport ourselves. Are they going to think that I'm stealing, or are they going to think that I'm, coming in to, like, we're always hyper vigilant. in certain situations every time we step out the house. And this is an example for me. It's like you go to work, you have to deal with I hate people, and you have to mentally prepare yourself for what could happen in any situation. And real quick, real short story. This weekend I went on a NAMI walk, and there were these two little white boys just sitting there playing, Kimberlyn, you guys, they were just sitting there playing cops and robbers, or not cops and robbers, but they were playing like just not a care in the world. And I just stared at them for a second, and I'm just like, the level of carefreeness that these two little white boys have, like a lot of kids will never experience. I don't think I've ever experienced that. And I just envy those little white boys in that situation. So we don't experience that. So how are we expected to go out into the world and knowing that we will encounter this situation like this Dunkin' Donuts employee had to deal with? And it just breaks my heart, and it hurts me, and it just adds a level of stress to me living in this skin.
Yeah, it does. And Atria put in a comment. She said, we go to therapy to learn how to place and control our emotions. Absolutely agree. And one thing I can say that you learn in therapy is you have a right to be angry. Right. But then what do you do with that anger? Right. So to that question, I think, and we may not necessarily have an answer right now at this moment, but I think it is worth thinking about, because we would be kidding ourselves if we thought that we will never be confronted with a person who feels empowered to call us out of our names, or to utilize a racial slur or hate words in our direction, or someone, near us. Think about what that might look like if it happened, for instance, to your child, right? As mama bears, we get very protective, right? And that can take it to the next level. So there's something to pre-planning those responses, because we would hate to hear another story like this where, this manager lost control, and no, I'm sure he didn't intend to kill someone, but that was the impact of what happened. So now there are consequences for someone losing their life, right? So how do we make sure that we're putting ourselves in a place to protect ourselves and come home? Right.
Yeah.
And it is just so unfortunate that that's the type of contortion that we have to do. But it's way more important for us to come home than to feel like we proved a point. Right.
Yeah.
So I would really say that we should all take a moment to think through what that would look like and pre-plan how we'll respond when and if this happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just mental Olympics. That's what it is.
Every day.
All right. So, Billy Porter, pray tell, is what I know him by. So, Billy Porter, if you guys know who he is, he plays in Pray Tell in the, I know it's Pose, but I don't know what network it is. I don't know what network it's on.
I don't know. I know it's on Netflix sometimes.
Doesn't matter considering it's about to end. But he recently came out. So Pose, I love Pose. I don't know if you ladies love Pose, Kimberly, you love Pose, but it's been on for, I want to say 3-4 seasons now. And towards the end of the last season, he played a character that was revealed himself to be HIV positive in the show. Porter came out recently and revealed that in his actual real life, he is HIV positive. I don't recall how long, 14, 15 years. He's been HIV positive, and he just came out with that. And do we know why he decided to do that, Kimberlyn?
Well, he talked about owning.
I know he talked to his mom.
Well, yeah, he talked about owning his truth, right? He wanted to live in his truth and to share the truth of the fact that he has been living with HIV all this time. As you mentioned, he was playing that character, but no one knew that he also had HIV, right? So I just can't imagine the type of strength that took, right? And the
Yeah.
real like emotions, right? Because in acting, you tap into a place, but
That
oftentimes
character.
you have to tap into a place that is your truth, but not necessarily that truth of the character, right? But thinking of him having to tap
Yeah.
into his actual truth of living with HIV all this time. So that's pretty much it. Like he wanted to live in his truth. He shared the truth with his mother, and he shared the truth with his cast, and he has shared the truth with the world that he has been living with HIV. So what we were wondering, because that not just the amount of strength that it took for him to share this, or to play that character, but the amount of strength that it took for him to publicly say, you know, I'm not going to be ashamed anymore. I'm going to own my truth and give my truth to the world. What we wonder is, what truth have you owned that you found healing in? Billy Porter talked about how when he was able to share that, that he felt healing in that moment, and he felt like he no longer had to hide a piece of himself. So our question to you all is, what truth have you owned that you found healing in?
That's a really good question. And I really try to think about this. That's a good question. I'm looking at the community, but no, this isn't a truth, but it's something that I have had to really learn for myself and really own for myself and really take it in. And this may sound cliche, you ladies, you guys, I'm sorry. But one of the things I initially thought of when I saw this is stop expecting me out of other people. Like that little sentiment for me, and it's a truth for me, because whether it's just men or family or just, I'm expecting so much out of people that is, and it's healing now to say that. I say that to myself, and it's helped me to not expect me out of other people. And when I have expectations from other people and things that I want them to do and things that I think that they should do for me as a friend or as a confidant or as a family member, I hope I'm on the right track of this, but that it's healing for me, because it's a truth for me that I really had to really lean into, because I expect so much sometimes from certain people, certain family members. And that's healing for me.
Yeah. And I will say there is no wrong way or right track, right? The track is the track, whatever that might be. And I think that there are lots of examples, right? So if that is what your spirit was led to say, then that's the answer, right? So I don't want you to feel like you have to apologize for your truth, right? And I can really relate to what you're saying of expectations. I think many of us struggle with expectations and not realizing how to free people from our expectations so that we are able to lessen disappointments because we're placing unrealistic expectations on people. You know, that's a big deal. I would say for me, one of the truths, I've got so many, Lord Jesus, but the first one that came to my mind is when I shared that I had been in an abusive relationship. That was the hardest thing, and I shared that as well as my abusive relationship with my mother, all like in the same blog post. And I remember,
I'm saying, I just remember when you shared that on here. You've shared that in the show.
Yeah, and I remember the day that I wrote the blog post, I didn't want to do it. I very much was like, I get into these battles with God and I'd be like, I ain't about to do it. And God be like, I bet you will. And I'd be like, I don't care, I ain't doing it. And it's like, we go through this thing and I never win. But I wrote it and I remember the moment that I pressed send to post it onto my website. I was like, oh my God. Like, I just didn't really know what to do with that. But at this point in life, it helped me to adopt the mantra that nobody can tell my truth better than me. And I started to look at it as that God had trusted me to go through that situation because he knew that I would use it to free other people. So I'm not ashamed of that. And I also got to know so many other women who were in abusive relationships, women like myself that never in a million years you thought that you would be in a situation of somebody putting their hands on you or talking to you like a dog or whatever. Like, I never saw that for myself. But so many other women I have connected with that they were like, sis, me too, girl. And it's such a stigmatizing place to be in because if you have not been there personally, there's a lot of judgment. People, say things like, why you didn't just leave? And, all of this, which none of that is helpful, by the way. But now I have a platform like this where I can help women who are survivors, as well as people who choose to remain friends with someone who is living in an abusive relationship, because it is very, very difficult to befriend someone who is stuck in that situation. So that was a lot of freedom for me. And now it's like, if somebody says something to me about it, I'm like, yeah, I told it, it doesn't faze me. But there was a point in time where I was just so embarrassed and, I hadn't told any of my friends and everybody knew something was wrong, but nobody like really knew what was going on. So that is a truth that I owned and have absolutely healed from that and have absolutely no problem talking about it. So that's mine.
Again, Kimberlyn, I feel like that took a lot. So thank you for sharing it again. Wow, that was heavy. But thank you for sharing that.
And I can laugh about it now because I'm healed from it, right? So what I'll say to anybody as we ask this question, again, this might be, tonight is like all about dropping these gems for y'all to be thinking, but as you think through what types of truths that you have owned or what types of truths that you want to own, my caution to you is to make sure that you are healed from it, right? So do the work that needs to be done for you to process the feelings, because if you're still in a situation where it feels very fresh and very raw, it's not time for you to give that to the world, right? So there has to be opportunity for you to reckon privately before a public display, because the world is trash. Let me tell y'all, like, everybody ain't like, when Sam talk about expecting you out of people, everybody ain't like beautiful brown girls, okay? So to Irma's point where she's like, why people put the onus on the victim versus the perpetrator, like, that's what people do. So if you're not in a position to really be able to combat that or to turn, an eye to that and not let it faze you, then it's not time for you to give that truth to the world. So you have to be really, really intentional about that. But that is something that we want you all to think about, of what type of truths do you have that you have owned, that you have or can find healing in. So.
Yeah. I see Irma. She says she's sad the show is ending. I am too. Like, that show had taught me. That show was a teacher for me. And I hate that it's ending. And I hate that it's ending. It's a short season this season for whatever reason. It's ending quickly than it should. But yeah, I like Pose. It's on Netflix too, and I can't wait till the new season is on Netflix as well.
And they did tell us it was on FX, so that was the station.
Is that another streaming app? Before. FX has a streaming app. So, I'm serious. I'm asking, like, dang, they gotta.
Somebody hook Sam up so she could figure out how to watch FX before she have a conniption, please.
I just got BET Plus via Amazon. I just got BET Plus. I'm like, I'm gonna be paying more than a cable bill. Should I get a cable?
Girl, if you don't embrace the community, child, and get you anyway, I'm not doing this with Sam tonight. Y'all probably messing Sam and get her together. But look, so what we were talking about just now kind of goes into our mental health moment. So I told y'all I was going to tell y'all why I am still here in DC. So I came down for the beautiful brown girls brunch.
Smack when you know it's going to be good when you start with that. So go ahead.
Child. So I came down for the beautiful brown girls brunch last Saturday, right? Super excited about the brunch, all of that. Okay, so I go to the hotel for the night. And the next day I'm getting ready, packed up, all of that, did a late checkout because I had some work to do. I'm like, boom, I'm about to go home. Like, it's about to be what's up. Child. I am driving on the interstate, okay? And so I'm new to this northern life, right? So something about the streets up north or the highways, it's like a highway, then the interstate, it's just a lot of options, okay? I'm used to like one option. So I was supposed to be going straight, but I was about to like wind up getting off. So there's a car like that's in the way. So I'm like, well, let me accelerate so I can get around the car. So I accelerate and all the lights come on my dashboard and my engine cuts off on the interstate.
Like all the engine, check your engine, something's
like
wrong.
Every light that there was on I'm talking the seatbelt light, the engine light, the brake light, like every light that was able to come on came on the interstate. I'm going 70 miles an hour. Engine shuts off. So I'm like, did my car just shut off? Like, what is happening right now? So I pull over to the shoulder, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so my car is off. Okay. All right. So I turn the key back, right? Turn it back. Nothing happens. Nothing. I'm like, oh my God, right? In the middle of Maryland. I don't live here. I live in Pennsylvania. On my way home, like, oh my God. So I'm sitting there. So I call like a list of people. So finally I call AAA, but I call like a list of people because I'm on the side of the interstate. It's raining. I'm like, somebody got to come and get me, right? So I come across one of my friends. So he was like, where are you? I'm gonna come and get you. So he shows up. AAA takes my car. They tow it to the AAA site. So I was able to stay the night at his place. And then the next morning I wake up. So I'm like, okay, now I have to start the marathon of phone calls, right? So I start calling and I call the mechanic place that had my car. And they're like, it's going to cost you $6,400 to get a new engine.
The fudge?
So my car is paid off, right? So I'm like, $6,400? Like, what? And I'm thinking to myself, that's a whole new car. Like, what are you talking? No, right? So I'm at this point, like sitting there just like, this cannot be the truth. So I wind up calling another friend of mine and he was a mechanic in the Marines. So I'm like, this is what they're telling me. I honestly don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. So he's like, okay, what kind of car do you have? Right. So I have a Sonata. Okay. So this is anybody that has a Sonata. This is for you. Y'all over here clowning me. It had oil, it had gas, it had everything, okay? This was not my fault. So anyway, so my friend is Googling, like within 10 minutes, he comes back and he's like, there was a class action lawsuit and for this exact thing, for engine failure. So he's like, your extended warranty is extended an extra 20,000 miles. It's completely covered. You just got to get it to the Hyundai dealership. So I'm like, thank you, Jesus, because what I did not have was $6,400. Okay, Jilly Jill, I'm gonna need you to take your car, love, because you might be on the list. Mine is a 2014. Okay, so anyway, so God came through in the clutch, right? All right, everything is covered, right? This was last week, though, y'all. I'm still here. Okay. So I have been waiting this entire week, like for them to come back and approve the warranty and all this kind of stuff. And it's just been like this whole thing. So I had met with my therapist on Friday, and she was like, I wonder how you feel about everything that's happened. And I was like, I don't think I've had a chance to feel, ma'am. Ain't nobody got time for feelings right now.
Yeah.
I had stuff to do, right? So she was like, no, but I wonder how you feel. And it was hard for me to like come up with feelings outside of helpless and confused and upset, right? Like scared, right? So I came across, so we had, our session, and I'm in snotty nose tears because finally when I tapped into my feelings, it was like just so many, right?
Yeah.
But I came across this thing on Instagram, and it talks about resilience. And one of the things that I notice that we do, especially as Black women, is we celebrate resilience. We celebrate all of the stuff that we've been through and that we got over to the other side. But the truth of the matter is, it is exhausting. And what my therapist did for me is offered me, it says in this thing, I'm exhausted by strength. I want support. I want softness. I want ease. I want to be amongst kin, not patted on the back for how well I take a hit or how many. My therapist was like, when people talk about creating space, she was like, we need to take space for how terrifying that was.
Yes.
She was like, we need to make space for how confused you were about what was happening with your car. It's like, we need to take space for the fact that you felt like there was absolutely nothing that you could do in that moment. And my car, like a car for me, I'm not one of them people that like, how some people always have car problems and they be like, oh, my car in the shop. Like, I'm not that person. I need my car to work. Like, I need to get in it. I take it to get its oil changes. Like, it's clean. Like, I take care of my car. So for that to be happening was very confusing. But she was like calling out all of these emotions that I had not allowed myself to feel. And it was a level of support that I have never received in my entire life. It was like she gave me an opportunity to just be like, you're right. Like, that was terrifying, right? Like, I couldn't even give that to myself because I had to go into action mode. But looking on the other side of it, I was like, that was terrifying. The fact that I'm still here in DC, right? Yes, I'm making the best of it, but I don't live here. This is not where I live. It's a cool place to be, but I kind of want to go home. That, like, feeling that I'm stuck is a valid feeling, right? And we really talked through all of that. And it was just a lot, like, for me. And I said to myself, like, I wanted to bring this to the community because I feel like we glamorize this strength so much. And I'm over it, y'all. Over it.
Kimberlyn, well, first, I am glad that you are okay. I'm glad that you are safe, and I'm glad that you found your tribe, your village, to help you through that. Because I'm glad that you're safe, and I'm glad that you're sound, and I'm glad that you're somewhere that you're in a space of not healing, but you're in a space of not calm, not healing, not calm. And I don't mean to speak for you, but I'm just imagining how I would feel and how I would be in that particular situation. First of all, I would have been crying the entire weekend. I wouldn't have thought to call any friends. I just would have I don't know how I would have acted. I truly don't know how to would have reacted or prepared in that particular situation. But I'm glad that you kept a level head enough to call your friends, ask them for their help. And I'm glad that you had your therapist to help you through that. That being said, like, Is a therapist, is having a therapist the sedative for going through something like that? Because I wouldn't have known to
I'm
think
just
about that.
glad, and I just started with this therapist. I actually found her on Dark Beauty. We've talked about that site before.
Yes.
And I had been like Instagram stalking her. So like I'm so happy that that I found her. But like and I kept telling her, I was like, I don't know what to do with my feelings, right? Because I was like, I could not be physically broke down in this car and have an emotional breakdown at the same time. Like that wasn't
Right.
gonna work. Right. Some had to give. But what she told me, so that was Friday. So she said, she was like, my challenge to you is that she said, this weekend, I want you to let yourself feel. And she said, as feelings, because while she's talking to me, like I'm sitting there crying, right? So, but by the time we finished, I wasn't crying anymore. And she was like, trust yourself that you're not going to stay there. And I think that was the thing, is I felt like if I let myself feel, that I would just like be a hot mess all weekend. And she's like, your body needs to release
It's
it.
okay to be a hot
But
mess though, right?
but that's what she said. She was like, even if, it does last for the weekend, because I was still like, I was supposed to have a podcast interview I was supposed to do. Like, I still had all this stuff I had to do. And what I wound up doing was being like, you know what? I'm going to cancel it. Which is not like me. Like usually I'll be like, I'm gonna push through, put on a good face, like we gonna keep it together. But I canceled it. And what I wound up doing on Saturday was nothing. And that is exactly what I needed to do. But I had not given myself the permission to do that because I was so busy trying to be strong and resilient instead of giving myself the care that I needed to just have a moment to be like, boy, this been a week. This been a month. This been a year. Like, good God, this is a lot. So I think it's something that all of us can grow in, wherever you are in your journey, and whether you're in therapy or not. If you're not in therapy, recommend that you get in there, even if there's nothing on the surface to process. There's always something to process. But to Stacy said, God will sit us down. Child, listen, sat me right down. Okay. He was like, honey, have a seat and sit down. But like now, okay. But I think we definitely need to, for our girlfriends and for the people in our circles, give them that permission to like just have a moment, and not feeling like we gotta fix it or you gotta hurry up and move on and like all of that. Like, be that soft place for somebody to land that is real support that they need, and not celebrating, oh girl, you got through so much. Like, yeah, but how did it feel? So that that is our mental health moment for today. And that is my story about why I am still here in DC.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Kimberlyn. All right. So as we run out towards the end of the show, we want to share our beautiful brown girl spotlight. And I thought this story was amazingly interesting. So this is a Black-owned rideshare company called Go Girl Ride. No, I just added that sauce to it, but it's called Go Girl Ride, and it's making transportation safer for women. Trinell Doyle, she's the founder of the Black-owned rideshare company called Go Girl Ride, is seeking to make the transportation industry safer. The Portland-based service is set to launch by Juneteenth and will first start off as a traditional taxi service. And she says, I was a driver for Uber for years. Women, femmes, and non-binary folks binary folks, but women in particular really surprised me because they would come to my car and say, thank you, Lord, you are a woman. I thought this was amazing. I thought this was dope. And if you want to learn more about Go Girl Ride, you go to gogirlride.com. I don't know if we have. Yes, that's the picture that I wanted to show. She even has it's a swag box to me of things that you can purchase from her site, from Go Girl Ride. And it's like a taser. It's a little punch thing. A little key thing.
Some brass knuckles.
Yes, brass knuckles. But I think this is amazing. She obviously is looking to expand, but she is starting in Portland right now. And I would just say go to her website and go to girlride.com just to see. And I'm pretty sure she has an Instagram and a Twitter and those things. But we wanted to highlight Trinell Doyle as the founder of this Black-owned rideshare company out of Portland. I didn't even know. This sounds like an ignorant question. I didn't even know they have Black people in Portland. I know that sounds ignorant, but
one of my line sisters is there. No, I understand though.
So yeah, and this picture of them just looks fierce as well. But we just wanted to highlight them and the things that Trinell and her tribe and her village/tribe are doing in Portland, and many blessings on and her efforts and expansion of Go Ride, because there's so many different rideshare companies out there that I think this one in particular deserves kudos because it's Black owned. So
heck yeah, black woman owned, brown girl owned for sure. Yeah. I did just put in the comments the site for Dark Beauty healing. So this is darkbeauty.com. So when you go there, you can find a free therapist, free therapist in your state by going to the directory. And they give, I believe, about 8 free sessions. So go check that out if you are looking for a therapist. And one day soon, we are going to get the founder on here to interview. So we're in talks about that. So that'll be coming up soon, but to have her talk about it. And who was it? Branyeli brought up that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is. Yes, so we definitely want to make sure we're being intentional about our mental health, not just in the month of May, but every single day. So if there is something that you want to do for yourself, it would be to take care of your mind. So maybe you want to go to Dark Beauty or Therapy for Black Girls or somewhere to be able to get yourself a therapist. So shout out to them. So as we wrap up and land this plane, we want to make sure that you all are connected to us in all of the ways that matter. So if you go to our Facebook page, Beautiful Brown Girls, and join our Facebook group, Beautifully Shaded, you can also find us on Instagram at Beautifully Shaded and on Twitter at Beautiful Brown U. And then again, we want to make sure that you are connected to our members network. Again, if you go to members.beautifulbrowngirls.com, there you can find all of the amazing things that we are doing. Again, Beautiful Brown Girls is more than just brunch, but we back in person for the brunches. So you definitely want to look and see when the next in-person event is in your particular area, so that you can get connected. And you know that we are here every other Monday. So Sab and I will be back on, oh my God, Sab, it is about to be June, girl. So on June 7th, we'll have our next episode of Brown Versations, where you all can hang out with us to talk about all of the amazing things that we are doing and the things that are happening in the world. So Sab, tell the people where they can find you, please, ma'am.
You guys, yes, thanks, Kimberlyn. You guys can find me on, I'm sorry I say you guys so much. I'm from Wisconsin. We say that a lot, so I don't intend to like call you guys.
You cool.
But like you guys can find sabjackson.com. You can find me on sabjackson.com. All of my social handles are there, LinkedIn, Twitter, my podcast, Bet on a Black Woman, Bet on a Black Woman. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, my preference is LinkedIn because I love to connect with you ladies professionally, obviously socially as well. But you can find me there. And a few of you have connected with me on there, so thank you.
Awesome. So you all can find me on my website, kimberlynjackson.com. You can also find me on Instagram at KimberlynJ. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Kimberlyn Jackson. Again, I am a life coach, so if you are looking for someone that is gonna push you to be the best version of yourself, holler at me. Also want to put out there that I'm starting a new consulting firm. So I have to tell y'all the story about this professional transition one of these days soon. But I'm starting a new consulting firm. It's called Empowering Leaders for Change. So if you are looking for a diversity, equity, and inclusion professional, someone to talk to the white people about their whiteness or to empower the Black people on their Blackness, holla at your girl, okay? Because I'm here for it. Like, the people needs to know, okay? But you can definitely connect with me. Connect with me at kimberlynjackson.com. And as I revamp all of that stuff, you'll have that up. Also, you can check me out on my podcast. I have a few podcasts, but one is The Whole Child, and it's a podcast about childhood trauma and healing from childhood trauma and generational cycles so that we can raise healthy kids. And you can find that on thewholechild.tv.
I love it.
Then I am starting a new podcast called Minding My Black Ass Business, honey. And I can't wait to start putting out content there because I got so many things to talk about. So we appreciate y'all. We love you all so much. You all are just everything in our community. So we will see y'all Monday after next. Have a wonderful Memorial Day next week. Stay safe. Yes. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Okay. And we'll see y'all back in one piece Monday after next. So love you all. Smooches to you. Be good, be safe, be well. Bye, y'all.
Bye.